extend a warm welcome to all of you. We're so happy to have you join us for this month's broadcast.
Okay, Stephen, let's hear what you have for us today.
The theme for this program is, As Jehovah's Sheep Reject the Voice of Strangers. It's estimated that there may be 15 million animal species on Earth today.
Just to show you how much these men lie, I looked up how many different species of animals there are on Earth today. As you can see here, 6.5 million on land, 2.2 million in the oceans. How many animals are there in the world? 8.7 million. BBC, species count put at 8.7 million, not 15 million. That's over 6 million difference from 15 million. Why you gotta lie, Stephen?
But of all these animals, which one is most often used in the Bible to represent good people? Sheep. Sheep. Bah. Jesus often used this illustration. Why did Jesus use a sheep illustration to represent people who will gain everlasting life? Why did Jesus use a sheep illustration to represent people who will gain everlasting life? Undoubtedly, because of the desirable qualities literal sheep have. They're gregarious, having a liking for companionship. They don't like to be alone. And it's a good thing, because without the flock and the protection of the shepherd, they're defenseless if a lion or bear approaches. About all they can do is bleat, "Bah." Goodbye, little sheep. Another good quality is that sheep as a whole tend to be peaceful, inoffensive, very different from goats.
Yes, Stephen, the sheep are very different than the goats. According to an unbiblical and very tragic interpretation of Romans 8, the Jehovah's Witnesses teach that only the elite anointed are adopted as sons of God, and therefore in line to be joint heirs to the kingdom with Jesus. Speaking of these elite anointed, the Watchtower says, "Those who are brothers of the King Jesus have been selected to be heirs of the heavenly kingdom, a glorious privilege indeed." And if this is true, then this is a glorious privilege, and very good news for the elite anointed. However, according to a prophecy given by Jesus, this is horrifying news to the other sheep. In Matthew 25, Jesus speaks prophetically about the future judgment. He says, "When the Son of Man comes in his glory, and all the angels with him, he will sit on his throne in heavenly glory. All the nations will be gathered before him." A poetic way of saying all people, righteous and unrighteous. And he will separate the people one from another, as a shepherd separates the sheep from the goats. He will put the sheep on his right and the goats on his left. Now notice there are only two categories to Jesus. You're either a sheep or you're a goat. No other option exists. For the sheep there is good news. Then the king will say to those on his right, "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world." And for the goats there's bad news. Then he will say to those on his left, "Depart from me, you who are cursed, into the eternal fire prepared for the devil and his angels." The so-called other sheep must be in one of these two categories. However, if inheriting the kingdom, and there is only one kingdom to inherit, it is reserved only for the elite anointed. The so-called other sheep cannot be the sheep spoken of here by Jesus. Because what does Jesus say to the sheep? "Come, you who are blessed by my Father, take your inheritance, the kingdom prepared for you since the creation of the world." If you are not inheriting the kingdom, then you are not a sheep. You're a goat, destined to be destroyed. There is no other option without seriously twisting the scriptures. So the next time a Jehovah's Witness invites you to come and be an other sheep with them, say, "No, thank you. I'm doing everything I can to avoid the lake of fire."